Yes. I tried to say this quite often.
Do you remember when you just
Yes, for
the smart
What's
boards
that?
and then you
Yes,
press
for
the
answer.
button?
I mean, you're not wrong.
He was selling those. He was going, now he can do it over there.
Well, maybe just.
About us here. So how to sell them. That's the original. The king's, yeah. So were you out of?
Yes, that's the weekend is good. But scratch part of the trial.
Do you? Channel.
Yeah.
Including the ink tech trials.
Oh, that's fine. So it's that's wrestling, that's just.
What actually comes out of this, no, that's not. That's what we're having. I figured that out. There.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And, Xerox is about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was in that building for a while.
Do you have anybody else?
Just, Joel.
Jerry wants.
His microphone is muted, but he should be able to unmute that. And hopefully he can hear us.
Jerry, if you can hear us, would you just let me know?
That is not responding. I can send an audio out, so we should be able to hear it. I can hear you.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, this is Jerry Lonner, who's zooming in, he's on the committee, but he's unable to be here in person tonight, so he's participating in Zoom. He's not yet. All right, we have an agenda. Start, we'll call the meeting to order. And
But it's.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
a few housekeeping items for everyone. First of all, the exits, the way that you all came in tonight.
Look at my hearing aids. And that little cup dresser.
Oh, follow the supervisor. Restrooms, men's room, ladies' room are just under that exit sign to the left, right? And you all have a notebook, which is going to help us organize what we're doing and keep us on track. By way of introductions, I'm going to ask you to turn to the first tab of the notebook, which is called membership. The second document you have should be a roster of the members. And we're going to go around the table, starting with Lori Truer. If you would please introduce yourself And if you would tell us what organization you represent and why you wanted to join the committee, that would be very helpful,
Okay. So I can stand up.
whatever.
So my name is Cory True. I'm the fire chief of County Falls. The first thing I'd like to say is I would appreciate a little more organization next time. This is kind of shoddy. I've been involved with the Village of County Falls Fire Department since 2011. Worked my way up through, and I'm now it's my first year as the fire chief. The reason that I wanted to join the committee is for a growing concern in the future of the fire, adequate fire protection for the town. So, answer all those questions and
Good evening. My name is Dominic Gonzalo. I'm a member of the County Falls Fire Department for 15 years. Worked with growth, firefighter. There's some background in the fire service. And then really I was hoping to be part of this committee. I think it's important that we evaluate objectively the service.
John Mott, Town Supervisor from Mendon. I've got a Steve Parker.
Mike Arman, the Mendon Fire Department, and this 2016, and now president of the department. And so my reason for joining is I want to be a effective conduit to our department and kind of explain what's, I'm sure over time this is, people are going to be asking questions, want to make sure the department understands what it's all about, make sure they get appropriate information.
Karen Jenkins, I'm a town board member, and my reason for wanting to be on this is just to learn more about the services that we provide.
My name is Robin Ha, Robin Stewart Ha. I represent the village here. The fire is in my blood. My grandfather, my father, my brother, all have served. And so it was a great opportunity for me to be able to help and also look at it from some different points of view. So I am a high schooler, and I want to make sure that those kids are safe too during the day when there's lots of folks that aren't in town.
And Robin, you're here as a village resident.
Yes.
Yep.
Pete Kester, I'm the fire chief in Mendon. I've been in the fire department since 1999. And since that time, I've steadily watched the decline in the volunteer membership. And it's going downhill fast. And I want to be part of the committee so we can try to do something before we're back into a corner.
David Smith. I am a retired firefighter, 30 years bright captain. I have two sons in the City of Rochester Fire Department now. And like you, we're about this 5th or 6th generation in the fire service. And I just want to, if I can help, right, with a combination department and, bring a little of that, my experience.
Brian Wilsey. I've been around the Mendon Fire Department since 2010, currently a commissioner at the Mendon Fire District. That's my role here, and how we can evaluate our options, see what we can do moving forward.
Steve Chitterer, I've been with Mendon now for a little over 20 years. I used to work with Andy up at the Ridge Road Fire District for 14 years. Now I work at the Fishers Fire District. So, and I used to volunteer the units. So a little bit of emergency services background locally and a little bit abroad. Want to be part of this just to make sure that all of us, I represent taxpayers. I don't, for the fire district, I'm not a representative of the organization. My big thing is making sure that when one of those taxpayers calls 911, that someone current qualified shows up. Doesn't really matter what it says on the side of it.
Thank you. And David, you're representing the Fire Protection District as a resident.
Yes, thank you.
So there are 3 resident representatives from each of the fire jurisdictions here. And I'm Muffy Meisenstahl. I was asked by the town board to chair this committee. And I appreciate all of you being here and volunteering to do that. My role is to facilitate and support the work of the committee, account for your progress, and document your information in a format that's pertinent now and that will accommodate input across continuing our successive years to allow continuous review and assessment of where we are at any point in time going forward. So what we create is data sets, tables, graphics, anything like that will be able to be sustained every year because the source information will come from the public domain and be available to whoever would want to fill in the blanks for that next year. So hopefully this is an exercise that will remain in perpetuity and help the town continue to look at assessment going forward, not just for the report. Okay,
Jerry,
yes, Jerry's there.
Right.
Jerry, can you hear us?
Jerry, would you like to introduce yourself?
Can you hear
or
me?
do you do that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Muffy, I don't know if you're hearing me or not.
Yes, we can hear you. If you would like to give us your name and your affiliation of why you're here, that would be great.
Okay. My name is Jerry Lanthair. I'm a part of this committee representing the village trustees of Honey Eye Falls. I am also a longtime firefighter. I think I have over 40 years of service. I guess my feelings about the committee is that our charge is to make sure that we're providing the best service to the community for both the village of Honey Eye Falls and the town of Mendon.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have any other virtual? Okay, so guests tonight are in person then. Mayor Milne, welcome.
Thank you.
And Brian Anderson, the administrator for the village, and
Member of Mendon Fire Department. My department. Yes.
we don't, just for clarification, there aren't any off. You're either on the committee or you are not. Anyone is welcome, yes, as a member of the public, but if you are not going to be able to meetings or you have not be here, then there's no, alternate because we need you in your expertise as we keep forward. So hopefully, we always welcome guests. It's not an issue, but I don't want anyone in the audience to think that
Yes.
they're part of it at any time unless there's an official reason to make a change. Okay? Just because we all need to be on the same page. All right. Normally we would have meeting support here from Bonnie Toomey, who would be taking our minutes. And this is Danny Bassett, and he's assisting us with IT and anything we need to do electronically to help the process here. So, okay, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. So first, I want to thank all of you for participating in this committee. I think it's something that kind of grew organically through communication with the chiefs of both Honey Eye Falls and fire departments who were concerned about volunteerism. When I went back and started doing a little research, looked at since 1985, talked to a few people, definitely having Muffy involved in this was a key component. And we wanted to, I think the town board responsibility for the fire protection district also drives this as far as that, quite frankly, the town board is the absent fire commissioners for the fire protection district. We have responsibility to those residents to provide fire protection. And we certainly appreciate all of you here today who are volunteers. And all of you who are not volunteers in the fire department, appreciate you here as well. So thank you.
Okay, moving along, then we're on item 6 of the agenda. A few other things here by way of our process. We will follow New York State open meetings law because this is a public size through a citizens advisory committee. So our meetings will be publicized. Unfortunately, the publicity for this meeting is only via the town's website. It did not make the newspaper. It should be there in today's edition, which goes out in the mail tomorrow. So you can capture that and the public will see it in the official newspaper for the town. Records will be kept by the town of Mendon. Any official document that we utilize or that we generate will be available to the public. Our records would include minutes, any documents that come as part of the report, anything we use in an official capacity that you want to be contained on the website, we can put there. Our approved minutes will be there so the public can follow along. So anything official will be noted on the website. On the website currently, you should find the resolution the town board passed establishing the committee and quite possibly the meeting schedule. And then as long as Danny has that up, there should be a tab. It's us on it.
On the right side of the screen, also.
Under Community Fire Protection Service Committee. And if you would, Michelle told me, Dan, on the right side down below the town departments, there are documents down the right, very right-hand side of the main web page, right in there. You see that bullet that says Honey Falls Village Emergency Services Report? That is the report that someone alluded to. This is it right here. And one of the things that we're going to take a look at are pieces from this document. So that would be a good way for you to view it. I'm going to ask you to take a look at some specific areas within it before we meet the next time. But that's where it is on the website. There should be a copy in the village hall. There is a copy in the town hall. There was one with the fire department, Honey Falls Fire Department. So, but it's there electronically. Okay, meeting schedule is in your notebook. Beyond the member roster, there should be that list right there of the meetings. We'll be here in this building from 7 to 8 o'clock. I do like to keep the time to 8 o'clock, respecting everybody's schedule. So please, if you have an assigned task, come prepared and be here on time as best that you can. Communication is the next bullet item on the agenda, and that is meant for me to tell you that at the bottom of the roster, you'll see Denise Zimmerman's name and email. Denise is going to be our administrative assistant. She will be our main point of contact for communication, for information that's disseminated throughout this committee. If you want some insight into that, Steve is a good person to talk to because we worked together previously on the Military Memorial Committee for the town. And to avoid any conflicts or exchange of information, you zeroed in on one central point of contact, which worked very well. So if you have something that you want to disseminate to the committee, please send it to Denise. She will distribute it. That way you know that it's community committee meeting information. If you have something that you're working on, like through just the fire departments, for example, there's a task, that's between the four of you here, and that's up to you. But when you have something for the committee, I would appreciate if you would draw her into it so that we're all on the same page with what you want to share. And I would just caution you with social media and with what you might be posting. Anything that we're going to do here by way of sharing documents with the committee will all be noted as draft. So they are not binding to the town of Mendon. And I would caution you, if people ask you questions, query you for information, point them to the website, to the committee, so that they can reference minutes and anything else that we have posted there. That way, you're not vulnerable for something, and we're not exposing something that is in error. So please try to adhere to that in terms of disseminating information. Anything we do is in the public domain. It's not protected. However, anything that we put out, we want to be accurate. I can appreciate that. All right, decisions. There are 11 voting members on the committee. If we have to do a vote, you are the voting members. I am a neutral position. The chair is not in a position to make a decision. Hopefully we'll reach consensus on many things, or at least there will be a predominant plurality in order for us to keep moving forward. So, but if we need to take a vote, there are 11. So there's an odd number to get the one vote that would need to go forward or to defeat an action. All right, is there any questions so far on anything related to the process or what we've covered? Okay, then let's move on to item 7, which is the committee charge. And if you will look again at that membership tab, the first document in there is the resolution forming the committee. And please note that this resolution is from the approved minutes of the board meeting where the resolution was considered. It does have a number on it. It is resolution 22-115. The person who made the motion, board member, and the board member who seconded it are on there. Otherwise, it's exactly as it was when it was mailed to you or conveyed to you in your letter for membership on the committee. But this is the official copy. That will be on the website if it is not already. All right. Let's take a look at these tasks that are identified there. And I'm going to stand up because it's going to be easier for me to focus. Right, I'm going to ask you to go to the last tab on your notebook, which is called Report. And you can find a document in there titled Contents. And I'm going to ask you to take it out. Binder, lay it on the inside cover of the binder here. This 2-page contents, and Danny, if you could put that up here. This is basically a table of contents for the report that we will generate for the town board. And if you would indulge me, we'll walk through how what we're going to do will help generate this report and follow along with the charge. So as you look on the agenda for task 1, it's basically in summary to identify the governance framework in the current capacities for fire protection. So if you look on the table of contents, part 1, this is what task 1 will generate in terms of information. This is how we are going to fulfill the obligation in task 1. So if you look at the table of contents in red font, you will see basically what's going to occur for information in each of these 2 sections. So Task 1 requires governance framework and capabilities. So we have jurisdiction and authority, and then we have the fire departments, which are the functional capacity. Task 2 is to complete a needs assessment for fire protection within the town. And you will see that part 2 is the needs assessment. There will be a risk analysis utilizing different pieces of information. And then we'll take a look at the resources we have and apply them to those risks. Try to figure out, do we have what we need for those risks, for the number of occurrences, for the types, those kinds of things that we need to respond to on a daily basis, on a cyclical basis, seasonal basis, once in a lifetime. Hopefully that's all that was. But anyway, we're going to take a look at what we need to do and how we can accomplish it. That's task 2. Task 3 is to report on our current capacities and recommend sustainment models commensurate with the needs. So once we know what we have, once we know what we need, we might find that there are some voids. We might find that there are opportunities for improvement, or that there's an outright need for something that we don't have now, but maybe we're going to need it. That's part 3. So task 1, part 1, task 2, part 2, task 3, part 3. Now, if you take a look at the names on the tabs, go beyond membership. The table of contents and the red font items that were listed correspond to the tabs. Take a report out of the picture from me. But they respond to the tabs. So everything we discover, all the information that you provide, all of the formatting that we do with that information will go in these tabs. So where things are related to jurisdictions, that's where you're going to find them. And oh, by the way, it's right there, the needs assessment. And then what the support is for those needs. Some of this will be a little bit repetitive because we already have established that we have certain things, but other things we might need further support. And then you'll see trends and projections. So if Dan scrolls down there, part 3, there, trends and projections affecting fire protection, and then modeling for sustainable fire protection and service delivery. Those are those last 2 tabs, and then it's all building toward the report. So as we generate information, as you make decisions, we're going to start building this report in a draft. Nothing is cut in stone until it goes to the town. So it's all still able to be edited and massaged and changed whatever way you want. But this would be the report so that when you all leave, you would have whatever is appropriate for you to have as a report. You'll have all of the work that you've done. So hopefully you can see how the tasks or the charge of the committee are going to feed work, generate products to build this report. Now, just a little bit more in terms of explanation for you. Hopefully this would be helpful. I would hope that you would keep an open mind. I know you all come from an organization where you have a perspective as a resident for the services that you expect. But in this forum, we're all working toward meeting the charge that the town has set forward for us. So please keep an open mind and focus on the charge from the committee. I would hope that you would respect the work of each committee member and the organization that they represent, because they have knowledge, you have knowledge, you have a perspective, and we don't all know what you know. So we're here to learn. You heard Karen say she was here to learn. Well, we're all here to learn because we all need information to put this report together. So as you share your experience and your skill sets, we're going to proceed to generate the report. There's no preconceived idea of what this report is going to contain, other than what you've seen from the charge to the table of contents. That's what we're here to do. There's no preconceived notion on the part of the board of what we're going to decide in terms of the recommendation. You all have opinions related to fire protection and the delivery of that fire service, but you need to park your opinions here and take an objective look at what we have to do and how our resources function to meet the town's obligation to provide fire protection and to meet its fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers. As chair, I know you're vested in your organizations and that you have much to share. Please understand that we will review and consider information you present, but we ask your indulgence and your patience as we work to document what you present in a manner that is useful for our purpose. For example, we may take information that comes forward and put it into a graphic format. It may be best presented as a chart, a graph, or some other depiction so that we can truly represent patterns. We may see patterns develop. We may see behaviors develop. And anything that would allow us to compare data, because we need to look at what we have town-wide. So hopefully you're ready to go to work. Yes? Yes. All right. All right, let's take a look at jurisdiction and authority then. Yes, thanks. Okay, within the town of Mendon, there are 3 elected boards that exercise authority to deliver fire service. So if you look under the jurisdiction tab and open up that map that's folded there, you're going to see that there are 3 jurisdictions within the town. There's the Mendon Fire District, governed by 5 elected commissioners. There's the Mendon Fire Protection District number 1, governed by 5 elected people on the town board of Mendon. And for the village of Honeoye Falls, the Board of Trustees acts as the fire commission for the fire department in the village. In addition to their fire protection functions, the town and the village also promulgate local laws. They hire employees as appointed officials and establish regulations to meet their municipal obligations for fire protection. For example, local laws, zoning ordinance, and everything that it regulates for development and change within the village footprint or the town footprint. So the town board of Mendon is a local government municipal jurisdiction as an overlay across the whole town for local government purposes. For example, appointed officials, building inspector, zoning compliance officer, fire marshal. They all have a role to play in fire protection. In terms of regulations, both of these local governments govern site plan review, very important, is plat layouts, how development will occur within their jurisdiction. Again, fire protection is one of the concerns of that review. Construction specifications, making sure that roadways that are developed can handle fire equipment, turning radiuses, through streets or turnaround cul-de-sacs. We're looking at density, we're looking at a distance between buildings or fire exposures. Those kinds of things that are of concern to the fire service are also part of the agenda of the municipal governments, which are at the table, represented by Jerry Lontier for the Village Board of Trustees, Council Karen Jenkins, Supervisor John Moffett from the town of Mendon and the Fire Protection District, and Commissioner Ryan Wilsey here for the Fire District. So there are other jurisdictions. If you take a look at the report from October of 2016, you will see that there are also obligations and laws that govern state, county, authorities like water authority, and other obligations for government influence within fire protective services. This report from 2016 is a considerable amount of information on jurisdictions and authorities. There is mixed in there for fire and EMS. And I'm going to take out and extract the fire information and put it in a section to send to all of you for fire protection, so that it specifically deals with fire protection. I know there are some voids in it for what we need to do. And I would like, for example, Commissioner Wilsey, one of the things that we didn't know when I put that report together was when the fire district was created. So if you could please verify that and also provide a copy of the verification, whether it's meeting minutes from the town board as a special district or in the commission folder, whatever you have that will show us and verify what you're going to tell us. Because one part of this, if you could scroll down, please. And volume 2. Volume 1 is the report. Volume 2 of what we generate will have appendices in it. And it will be the verification, like I'm asking Ryan for minutes or whatever document shows creation of the Mendon Fire District. That needs to be in this report so that somebody reading it can find it and say, oh yeah, there it is. Because what we're doing is not subjective. It comes from sources. Okay. That's the first assignment. All right. Okay, let's look at task number 2 is the needs assessment, and that's going to come a little bit later. We're going to talk about that in a future meeting. But in the resource considerations here for the fire service, that list is not inclusive, doesn't hit everything. It's just meant to give us a start. And here's the start. As soon as you are able. Okay, looking at Anthony and Corey and Mike and Peter. Information from the fire service that's needed for this is going to draw its attention at least to those pieces. Probably more as we go forward, because as we get information, more things will pop up as necessary. But where we're going to look at staffing, if you could please, without names, the names are not important to us for this report. However, the capacity of your staffing is very important to us. So if we're looking at the number of active volunteers in your departments, expressed with identity for interior firefighters, exterior firefighters. And if you have other designations, if you could please identify what they are and define them for us so the group understands what their function is and how it is important to the role that you have. How many officers you have, what their ranks are. If you have captain, do you have two, do you have one, lieutenants, how many? Do you have more than one assistant, deputy, whatever your title ranking is, and the number of people are staffed. And then if you have paid staff, what their civil service title is, their job description, and a salary schedule. Don't need to know, who makes what. That's not what we're looking at. The salary schedule will show us a range for those positions. And if you get hung up on that, civil service requires that your treasurer or your secretary, in the case of the village, the clerk treasurer, certify a payroll, an employee payroll once a year, so that everybody who's under employment and their salary is on there. So I'm not looking to say, John or Sue makes X amount of dollars, but we need for comparison to know a salary range. So we're talking about apples and apples when we look at paid staffing. Okay. For mutual assistance, which I think is up a little higher there, yeah. Mutual aid, not right now. More concerned about mutual assistance under the idea of mutual aid. So if you could please tell us your current dispatch instructions with ECD, the 911 center, for your call types. So when you have a structure fire or you have a motor vehicle, whatever your call types are, what your mutual assistance expectation is for that, and what departments are bringing what equipment, so that we can see what is responding, who's coming, what you're relying on outside of your own department. Again, it gives us an idea of staffing, equipment needs, and what is necessary at those call types. When we look at calls for service, I'd like to talk with you and maybe send an email to the four of you, and however you would want to do this, that would be up to you. But Red Alert, are you using Red Alert for your reporting system?
Yes.
So on Red Alert, there are certain fields of information that are required on a call-by-call basis. And there's information at the 911 center related to each call. We captured the 911 data in the 2016 report. However, we did not use the then name for the reporting system that's now Red Alert. Want to talk with you about gaining information on your calls through both 911 and Red Alert, and see how you use your response times, because you do have some flexibility in how you define your response time. So we need to understand if you're both doing the same thing and then it's consistent for our reporting, or if you have different ways of doing that. And then we'll work with 911 in order to capture the number of calls, what they have in relationship to what we get off Red Alert, so that we can come to some understanding of how we're going to get this information together. So what we're going to look for basically through those reporting systems are the types of calls, time of day by 6-hour increments in the 24-hour clock, so that you get an idea of when your major responses are, if there's a pattern to something. How many of the calls had mutual assistance or mutual aid in its true sense under state statute. Where the destinations are there clusters? For example, I would assume that there's going to be more activity within the village than there is in the fire protection district from the Honeoye Falls Fire Department. There may be more at general activity in the hamlet of Mendon than in the outlying rural areas, but we don't know that. So we're gonna look for that kind of information. And then we're gonna look to see what the predominant call types are, where your focus is primarily. Is it on the highways? Is it residences? Is it businesses? Is it public buildings, land, parks? Where are you going and how often? What's the frequency of these things? That will also help us with the needs assessment. So no information here stands on its own. It's all, kind of like this and coming together, and we'll build upon itself. When we look at equipment, looking for a roster of your response equipment, noting the number of the vehicle. The number of the vehicle tells us a lot about the type of vehicle it is and what it's used for. Well, for those of you who aren't familiar with that, we'll learn about that. But the make and model of any kind of motorized vehicle, the body, is it a pumper, is it a tanker, is it a ladder? What is its primary function, and what do you carry on that piece of equipment that might be specialized for what you do when you take that piece of equipment out? So the functional capacity for, if you have a trailer that carries gear and those kinds of things, or some special kind of vehicle, that's important too. So anything that responds for you, I'm considering a vehicle, whether it rolls on its own or it's contained on a trailer for transport. That would be important. It's critical to your response. It's critical to our equipment roster. Is it doable?
Yes, it's
Okay, so some things are probably pretty easy, that you have as standard information. Other things we might, need to take a look at. So if Anthony and Mike are in agreement, maybe I could talk to the two chiefs about looking at red alert and the 911 information to come together on what we're going to gather for our call response. Is that okay? Okay. All right. Then I'll be in touch with you, figure out how we're going to do that. Okay. All right. Now, do you have any questions about anything we've covered so far?
Muffy, when you look at the information, what kind of time frame? Is it a year, multiple years? How are you?
For the responses, we're going to look at what we want to capture for a year. And then we're going to look at reasonably how many years we verify that information going back. We may go back to 16 and just update from there based on red alert and 911. We may have to find that, we're going to go back and modify something. But the more data we have, the better position we will be for you to make decisions. You'll see patterns, you'll see behaviors, you'll see predominance of calls, where they are and what they are, what it took to respond to that. And then going forward, it may lead to, okay, we need this. Do we have it? Yeah. We're going to need this. Do we have it? Well, we have it through mutual assistance. How long is that? We'll project maybe based on your information and our best estimate. How long is this workable? So part of what you're going to do in your report might be a timeline of phasing if you think there's some phasing of changes that needs to be done. But nothing's predetermined. Again, it's all going to come from the information that you share and that we learn, and how that works in your mindset, in your box of expertise and your knowledge. Okay, so is there anything individually that anybody has that you would like to add?
When I asked the 2016 report, generated?
That was a report that was commissioned by the village board of trustees and the town board.
It was an outside agency.
I wrote the report based on information that was collected from the village, from the town, from the 911 center. If you look at the reference list in the report, you'll find that it's extensive, and everything that was verified as information has its source in the appendix document. Anybody else? Jerry, do you have anything that you want to add or bring to the attention of the committee?
Nope, not at this time.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. Okay. Any questions on the research assignments or where we are? Okay. Good. All right. Next time, we're going to meet again on July 27th. In the meantime, you can expect to receive some information from Denise. And wherever if you have a printer and you want to print it out and add it to your notebook, you can. But just know that anything that we send out electronically will be available here in hard copy when you get here. Okay, so if you want to read something, but you don't want to print it out, just wait, you'll get the hard copy. All right, there is another piece of information that we'll have next time. It's from the Monroe County Water Authority, and it will be coming to you in an electronic format. And I know it's hard to see, I just want you to know, this is a map of water districts, water presence in the town of Mendon. And the little yellow dots that are all over it are the hydrant locations. Because I was concerned about not just water on a road, but accessible for fire protection. So this will be coming to you electronically. Supervisor promised to receive it in the next couple of days. So as soon as it's available electronically, Denise will send it out to all of you. So this for sure is coming. All right, from our guest gallery, does anybody have anything you'd like to address? Well, thank you for coming. You're always welcome. I would just say, I know that there was some information prior to the meeting. There are other fire departments around us. If any of you feel that those departments, those districts, those jurisdictions may be affected by what we're doing, and you want to reach out and ask them to come and listen, they are always welcome to do that. But again, this is strictly a report for the town of Mendon. Anything that the town is doing now for the fire protection district, anything the commission is doing for the district, anything the village is doing for the village fire department is not constrained by what is happening here. So this isn't stopping anything, this isn't interrupting anything, this is a movement forward to gather information for the town to continue to make decisions for their obligation. And hopefully we'll all learn something, and that it will be useful for you to use individually as a commission, the Fire Protection District Commission, and the institution for the village. So thank you for volunteering to be part of this, and we'll look forward to seeing you July 27th right back here. Watch your email. Thank you.